Hi everybody! Welcome to episode 32 of the Queen City Yarn Dying to Knit podcast. My name is Kristen, and this is a podcast about knitting and yarn dyeing and crochet, sometimes spinning and weaving, pretty much just my adventures in making things. So thank you so much for joining me today. You can find me online on Instagram as Kristen C and Queen City Yarn. You can find me on Ravelry as Kristen, and you can find all of my patterns as Kristen Clement Designs. Those are available on Ravelry and also over at queencityyarn.com, where you can find all the yarn. We also have a Ravelry podcast group. If you'd like to join that, you can. And yeah, thanks so much for joining me today. It's been a few weeks since my last podcast, and I have some fun things to show you. So today I'm wearing my Eddie by Isabel Kramer. This is one of my most recent finished garments, and yeah, I really am loving it. It's made out of 100% silk, Ella Ray rustic silk, I believe, and I really like it. The weight is really nice for the weather down here in the Carolinas, and yeah, so yay that. I have some finished objects to show you today. I have some works in progress to show you. I have an upcoming project, and then I will pause at towards the end and grab some fun Queen City yarn to show you. And yeah, so grab a cup of something and some knitting and join me for a little bit. I'm drinking coffee today in my Yeti mug because of kids and trying to keep things nice and hot to enjoy in the morning. So yum yum. Okay, so I'll start with finished objects. I'm trying to think of the order that I finished things in so I can show them to you like that. So the first thing I have to show off is this Cloudstrike cowl. This was a design by Kino Knits, and she designed this for our June studio series club, July studio series, and I was a test knitter, sample knitter, whatever. I used our Queen City Yarn Wesley Heights worsted for my sample, and mine is just in a tonal yarn, and this is Tandoori is the colorway. But this is a really fun cowl. It's very quick, knit out of worsted weight yarn. It took me a day to knit, and yeah, it was just really fun to knit, to work the lace pattern. Kept it interesting, but it was quick because it was worsted and quite a bit of it is stockinette. So I highly recommend the Cloudstrike pattern, Cloudstrike cowl pattern by Kino Knits. So that's here. And if you were a member of the studio series, you got a beautiful skein of a worsted weight 8-ply cable construction yarn that was tie-dyed, which was super cool. So, yeah, and her sample of that knit up really, really awesome too. So, yeah, that's my first finish. My next finish is the PV sandwich hat. This was a design by my friend Shayna of Shayna Line Designs, and this was the first pattern that she released as part of the Eat, Sleep, Knit Designer Showcase or Designer Academy. I'm not exactly sure what it's called, but the PV sandwich hat is a beautiful fingering weight hat. I did the kids size large. It's got this super fun pop of color on the inside of the folded brim, and I knit this for my daughter Caitlin. She picked this super fun pom-pom with these sparkle in it. It's awesome, and it looks great with the hat. And I just totally love how it turned out. So this is done. And also, so Shayna, the designer of this pattern, Shayna Lines Designs, just put together her own website and has a newsletter. And if you sign up for the newsletter, I'm pretty sure you get something, either a discount or maybe even this hat pattern. So you should totally sign up for her newsletter. Her patterns are super fun. Okay, so that one's done, and now Caitlin can have it because she has been asking for it. The next thing that I finished was the DK Swift gift socks that I was knitting for my brother-in-law Kevin. This is out of a Regia 6-ply Arne and Carlos yarn, and I did remember sock blockers, but he's got some big feet, y'all, so they're like way too big for the sock blockers, like way too big. But they are done, and that is another Christmas gift that is marked off of my to knit list. I need to get another one on the needles stat, but I've been knitting lots of things for me recently. But these are the DK Swift gift socks, and that is a pattern that I designed that is a great use of DK weight sock yarn that makes socks for everybody on your list. And then the last finished object I have is my Empower People cowl. This is a design by Casapinka. It is a free design, and if you go over to the Empower People website, you can learn all about why these cowls are being knit, and there is a excuse me, there is a knit pattern, a crochet pattern, and a sewing pattern. And so this is the one that I knit. I started out with eggplant. This is on our Queen City Yarn Biddleville DK base. I started out with our eggplant, and then after about halfway I started striping in Fair Fight, which is our most recent charity colorway to support free and fair elections. And so yeah, I thought that it worked great with the eggplant. It looks really nice with it, and I just thought that it worked really well for this project and the intent of the people who are behind designing it. So this is my Empower People cowl. It turned out really nice. I love the fit. I made the 22-inch circumference size, and the fit is great. It's very comfortable, and yeah, I love it. So those are my finished objects. So on the needles, I have a shawl, a sweater, 3 pairs of socks, possibly more than that, but these are the ones I've been working on, so that's what I'm going to share with you today. So I'll start with socks. The last time I podcasted was right before the end of July, and I had said I wanted to finish these by the 31st. I did. I finished them like while watching the news that night. So after I finished that pair of socks, I cast on another pair of DK Swift gift socks in the Kirby Warby yarn that Janice gave me for my birthday. And I have finished the first sock. I'm doing shorter cuffs on these because I want to be able to get 2 pairs out of the ball. And I did the cast on kind of like top piping out of this Women at Work that Janice dyed, that she gave me along with the Kirby Warby self-striping. And I did the heel flap and heel turn with that color. And then I ended up doing, I didn't switch before, like as I started the toe, like the pattern calls for. I waited until I got through this black stripe because I wanted to cast on the second sock in the same spot. So I began the toe decreases here where my marker is and knit until I got through that black stripe, and then finished the toe out in yellow. And then I'm almost done with the cuff of the second sock. I haven't knit on this as much lately, but I think this will be quick to finish. And then I'm hoping that I can get another pair out of it, another pair of like shorter DK socks out of the ball. So I will keep you posted on progress with that. So there's that project. I have 2 other pairs of socks on the needles. One actually does have some progress. These are the socks that I am shorty socks that I'm knitting using the Yarn Jar yarn, and I'm not sure. I do have the colorway. It's called Color Blast. So this is the dyer here, the Yarn Jar, and the colorway is Color Blast. So I have the first sock done, and these are shorty socks. I got a haircut and I knit on these while I was getting my haircut, so there's like little hairs on them. Definitely need to be washed. Okay, so this is the first sock. They're very, very short cuff. I did literally only the cast on, and then that first speckled stripe is the ribbing. And then I did a couple of stripes of just stockinette and started my heel. I did the double gusset heel on these socks, which is my favorite. And yeah, finished this one off. And I am working on the second sock. I'm on the second of the gusset, double gusset. I'm on a 9-inch circular. I did switch to DPNs to do the heel and the heel turn, the heel flap and heel turn. But then after I picked my stitches up, I put it back on the 9-inch circular. So yeah, I'm working on that second gusset. I really don't have that much farther to go. It looks like I only have one more gusset decrease and I'll be done with that second gusset, and I'll just be working down the foot. But I think this yarn is really fun. I love the speckled stripes in there. And they are going to be perfect matches, it looks like. So, yay that. So that, oops, losing my double points. I'm keeping this in a bag by my friend Jenny of the Kitchen Counter Crafter. She's not making bags anymore. And then I don't think that she's the one that made the whip or DPN holder, but it matches like perfectly with the bag. So that is my first pair of fingering weight socks. I have one more pair of fingering weight socks to show you, and I've made some progress since the last time I showed you. I don't think a ton, but some. And this is my lollipop socks in lollipop yarn, dyed by my friend Joan. And the colorway is Attitude with a mini me and Grumpy. So this is the ball, the main color, Attitude. So it's coming apart. And Grumpy is the gray. And I'm almost to the toe of the first sock. And I'm mid-row, but whatever. So these are again a shorty, very short ribbed cuff. It's just those first two stripes are the ribs. And then heel flap and double gusset. Like I said, I'm almost to the toe of this first sock. And yeah, I'm loving them. It's so different. These stripes are so much skinnier, but I think they're really, really pretty. It makes them a little bit more potato chippy because it's so quick. They're only like 3 or 4 rounds each. And so they're super fast. So those are my socks. Now I just have a sweater and a shawl. So I'll start with the sweater because you've seen that before. This is my Weekender Light by Andrea Mowry. And I've been working on this for quite a while, since the beginning of July. I've been working on this. And I'm using Queen City Yarn, our Berry Hill, which is our exclusive base, which is an 80% merino, 20% alpaca. Everything is from the United States. All of the fiber is sourced in the U.S. and then it's spun up in the North Carolina mountains by our friends at Echo View Fiber Mill. So I am using the colorway Azalea, which is this beautiful pink. And we still have a few of the 100 gram skeins. And so I did grab a die lot of the 100 gram skeins for this sweater. I thought that for my size I would go into the 4th skein, but I haven't, and I don't think I'm going to. This is how much I have left of my 3rd skein. And I have 1 sleeve left. I'm so excited. I have the body done. I had a moment of panic about the body because I have been knitting on this while being a little stressed. I'm a parent. I have a 1st grader and a 3rd grader this year. And just with the state of things, it's been kind of stressful. back to school kind of time where we're thinking what we're doing. And anyway, I was knitting on this while discussing all of these things with my husband, and I think I knit kind of tight. Like maybe my stress gauge is much tighter than my not stress gauge. So after I finished the body, I tried it on and I was like, oh boy, this is not the size I thought it was going to be. But I blocked it and it was fine. So, whew, thank goodness it all came out in the block. So I finished the body and put the shoulders together, and I have finished the first sleeve. I keep all of these little bulb stitch markers on here to mark my decreases. And what I do to make sure that my sleeves turn out the same is, so for the second sleeve, I know I have to do the same amount of decreases. So once I just did the first one, like I literally just picked up the sleeve and did one decrease. You can see down here, the very first decrease. But for each decrease I do, I'll take a marker from this sleeve and move it over to this second sleeve. And then I'll be sure that my sleeves match. And literally all I have left to do is this second sleeve. All of the ends are woven in with the exception of the here under the arm and then at the end of the sleeve. So it's like really, really almost done. I'm very excited about it. I think this sweater, I think I'm going to wear the heck out of it this fall and winter. And so yay that. And I'm excited to be almost done with this sweater because I have two sweaters that I'm dying to cast on. And I'll tell you about those in a few minutes. The last knitting work in progress that I have is a new shawl on the needles. So the Weekender Light, I felt like I needed that super easy project because I had a lot on my mind and I just needed something that I could work on and not really have to think about. And turns out I also needed something to take my mind off of everything that's on my mind. So I cast on a more complicated project for that purpose. Okay, I'm back. Kids. Okay, so as I was saying, not only did I find that I really needed a mindless project to work on, I also found in the past few weeks that I needed something that was going to use more of my mind, but not necessarily a design. I just needed to be able to follow directions, but have it be something that I had to think about. So I cast on this Fernweh shawl by Suzanne Sommer, Sosu. This is her newest brioche, I think it's her newest brioche shawl. I bought it, I think the day it came out, I saw it and I just loved it. And so I cast it on and I had some stash yarn. I have a few like bundles in my stash of yarn that I have like 3 skeins that I intend to use for a shawl together. And this is one of those kind of bundles. So the yarn that I'm using for this is from the stash. And this is Madeline Tosh Merino Light. I've had this in the stash for quite a while, and I'm using 3 different colors. So I'm using Stovepipe, Coquette, and Gemini Twins. So these are the 3 colors that I'm using in this shawl. And it's all single plies. Tosh Merino Light is single ply, which I don't use single plies very often, but I do really enjoy them when I do use them. So those are the colors that I'm using. And this is the shawl so far. I have been enjoying knitting on this at night. And it's so fun. Brioche is fun anyway. It's like really cool how it comes together. This shawl has 2 color brioche and then this thing called, I think it's called pearl brioche. It's 1 color. These bands of this 1 color brioche here, which I'm really enjoying. It's cool because the directions are, you know, something you definitely have to follow and mark off your rows on, but it has these different sections where, it's just completely different, and I'm really liking it. So this is the right side where the Gemini twins is kind of the one on top, and then in the back, stovepipe is the one that's kind of featured there in that 2-color brioche. I just think it's so pretty. Both sides. I'm really enjoying it. So I have, I think, 2 more bands of, okay. So there are 2 more, I just finished this band of the single color, pearl brioche there. There's 2 more bands of the 2-color brioche, and then a couple more, or 1 more of this, and then a garter at the bottom. So I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. And it's using up part of my brain, so I'm not always thinking about everything going on and what's best and all the things. So, yeah, that is my shawl that I'm working on. Oh, I do have another finished object to show, and it's a bracelet. So one day, Caitlin and I made friendship bracelets, and this is like a Pura Vida or whatever kind of style friendship bracelet. And I had this waxed cord that I had bought to sew the slipper bottoms on to my slippers that I had bought the felted bottoms for, and I've just bought a pack of this off Amazon to do that. It has a bunch of different colors. I believe I showed it off on the podcast. Anyway, we had some fun making bracelets. So we made a few like this, and then I made Caitlin one that was like the style that I used to make when I was her age or a little older, where you do the chevron pattern. So I did that for part of the bracelet, and then I was like, wow, this is taking forever. So we switched up and did some different kind of designs, like the square knot and some braiding, and it turned out really cool. We had fun. We spent a couple of days doing that kind of thing and really enjoyed it. Okay, I have one more project to share with you, and that's my crochet blanket. There's not tons of progress. This is going to be a slow project, but I am enjoying it. I don't remember where I was the last time, but this is where it is now. I wanted to see what it was like crocheting with the fingering weight held double. I need to get one of those stitch markers and put on that. Anyway, I wanted to see what it was like holding the fingering weight double, because that is, I'm using DK and then fingering weight held double. That's how I'm planning on making this blanket. And so this top row of gray is fingering held double and is working out great. So, yeah, I still feel like it's a learning project, but I'm enjoying it. I think the next color I want to put in is one of the hand-painted ones that Janice gave me to add in. And so, yeah, that's that. It's going to be a slow-going project, but I'll share it with you along the way so you can see how it's going for me and how it's turning out. Okay, so I have two garments that I'm dying to cast on. And so I'll share those with you. I'm going to grab some yarn and I'll share those garments with you, and we'll show some things. So I grabbed some yarn so I could talk about upcoming things. So this is Queen City, but not necessarily, because this is not a base that we sell. So I just wanted to talk about this real quick, and then stick around if you want to, but I'm going to chat about Queen City stuff afterwards. So I want to make this sweater, Donner, which my mom made a few years ago. It's by Elizabeth Darty, and my mom made this a few years ago and just absolutely loves it. And she used this merino silk base, which is, I had dyed it for her birthday. It was just, we got some of it just to play around with. Janice has knit a sweater out of it as well. And so I had dyed myself 2 skeins a few years ago in a super duper bright green. And I was going to make like a springtime cardigan with it. And then I decided, this just wasn't really the color I wanted to knit with. And so it sat in the stash. And I decided that I was going to make Donner because some of my girlfriends are knitting it and they're doing like a knit along. So I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to knit it. And I decided I was going to over dye the super bright green yarn. And so I did that this past weekend, or the weekend before last, I think. And over dyed it and made it this like, it's still green, but it's more of a tealy green. And I really am excited about it. So I've spent quite a bit of time swatching with some leftovers of a skein of this base that I had previously dyed. And I finally got gauge, and I'm really excited to get that started. So on the agenda this afternoon is to wind this yarn and actually, go through the pattern, pick the size, and make sure I've got everything I need and get started. So yay, I'm really excited about that. Okay, so the rest is going to be Queen City chat. The next sweater that I want to cast on, and I won't be casting this on until September 1st, so that I can participate in the Ho-He Fall Knit Along. I'm going to cast on the easy one. And I did knit one of these in Brooklyn Tweed Loft the year before last, and really love the sweater. So I want to knit another one, and I want to use Berry Hill. So I'm going to use Azalea. So I grabbed this die lot of our 100 gram skeins of Mulberry. Azalea is the pink that I'm using for my Weekender Light. So this is Mulberry. We do have a few skeins of the 100 gram skeins in stock in quite a few of the colors. So if you want 100 gram skeins for a sweater quantity, and those are available in the shop in the color you want, pick them up while you can, because we have moved to 50 gram skeins because this yarn is awesome for color work. So we're moving to 50 gram skeins. We do have some 100 gram skeins left. So this is Mulberry, and this is what I will be using for the easy one by Ho-He Locatelli. To sign up to participate in the knit along, you have to sign up by August the 30th, and then the knit along actually starts September 1st and runs to the end of November. So I feel like I will have no problem getting this fingering weight garment done in that time period. And it is an easy sweater to knit. That's why it's called the easy one. And I love the result. I love the one that I made before, so I'm very excited to make myself one out of Berry Hill. So those are the 2 garments that I have planned coming up soon. As soon as I finish my Weekender Light, I will be, I think I'm going to start Donner before I finish it. But I only have 1 sleeve left, so that'll be fine. And then I brought over some Queen City yarn to share with you. So I told you that we have our colorway Fair Fight in the shop. It's listed as dyed to order. I don't have any in the skein right now. I have one in the cake that I used part of for my Empower People cowl. But Janice is actually stopping over this afternoon and dropping off all the Fair Fight that she dyed the other day. We had a bunch of orders come in for this colorway of the weekend, and we are donating $10 of every skein of Fair Fight to Fair Fight 2020, and we have all that information on the website, and I'll pop a picture of the colorway in the skein so you can see it clearly in the skein too. So that is on the website, and those are dyed to order. So I've showed you, the mindless knitting that I've been doing and talked about how much I've been enjoying that, but also that really my brain needed something to focus on that wasn't all of the things that I've had to focus on lately. So this shawl by Suzanne Summer, this Fern Wish shawl, I have loved this, been loving it so much. We have a lot of colorways that go together really well. And so I pulled just some to show and ones that I considered. I made myself choose from my personal stash because it's pretty big. And I can't always knit with Queen City. I have to leave some of it for y'all. Because honestly, every time I dye it, I'm like, oh, I want to make this with this. Oh, I want to make that with that. And yeah, I just can't do it all the time. So anyway, I pulled some like kits for this shawl that I considered when I was thinking about what yarn I would use to knit it. So the shawl calls for 3 colors, and one is intended to be like a pop of color, and then you have a lighter and a darker. So this was one like kit that I really liked idea. So this is Rose All Day. These are all on our Noda sock. And this one is Mountain Orchard. So like the light and the dark. And then I really love Raindrops for the pop of color. I think this would be an absolutely beautiful one. So I was thinking that. And then I was looking at gray and yellow because I love gray and yellow together. So this one, I chose 2 tonal colors for this one. So Sharpie versus the Fridge and Graphite for the lighter and darker for the 2 color brioche, and then Golden Rule, right, as that pop of color. Wouldn't that be beautiful? And I really love Golden Rule with Mountain Orchard as a pop of color too. So with Sharpies and Mountain Orchard and Golden Rule, I think those are beautiful together. And then also Campfire and Deep Eddy are really beautiful, like bright colors. And then Graphite, I think, would be beautiful. And you could actually do it with these 2, and then this is the pop of color. Or, you know, you could totally switch it up. However, I mean, any of these, you could just switch all around. And then I was like pulling out all this yarn, and it's so much fun just to play with the yarn. I had you, like, the recording paused, but I could spend all day in the yarn closet just pulling out yarn and lots of fun things. One thing I thought of after I sat down, after I had been playing in the bins of just the loose skeins of yarn, we also have kits on the website. And if you remember the Hug Shot kits from Casapinka, those would be beautiful with, and then to choose in a pop of color, I think would be absolutely gorgeous. I didn't pull any of those out. I thought about it after I sat down, and I was like, if I don't get this done, I'm not going to get this done. So anyway, there's lots of yarn on the shop on at queencityyarn.com. We have a lot available right now. And then we also have dye to order listings. So if you don't see what you are looking for available in stock, you can always order a custom order through us. And when you do that, you can just search custom order on the shop, and you can choose your base that you want. You can choose how many skeins of that base you want, and then at checkout in the notes section, you can write in the colorway name that you are looking for. Or if you need more than one colorway, you know, you can say like, oh, I want 2 of Rose All Day, and then 1 Raindrops and 2 Mountain Orchard. I don't know why but aren't those pretty together? Anyway, I hope that y'all are doing well, and everybody's healthy and all that jazz. And I wish all of the parents and students a good start to the school year, however you're choosing to do that. Just keep hanging on, I guess. I don't know. It's all going to be all right. So, yeah. And just keep knitting to keep your sanity, because that is what I'm doing. Maybe alternate between something super easy and mindless, and then also something more that requires more of your brain power, so that you can, spend time focusing on things you need to focus on, and then also spend time not focusing on things when you need a break, because we all need a break. So anyway, until next time, happy knitting, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.